So you're going for the MEXT scholarship. It's a huge opportunity, but let's be real. It can feel like a total high-stakes puzzle. You know you've got the goods, but you also know so many amazing candidates get that rejection letter. So why does that happen? Well, it usually boils down to a few key missteps. Missteps that are, believe it or not, completely avoidable. Okay, let's dive into the playbook that's going to help you turn a potential no into a definite yes.
All right, here's our game plan. We're going to break this down into 5 key sections. We'll start with why people get rejected, then we'll craft your winning proposal, get your head in the game for the interview, run through a playbook for those tricky questions, and finally, wrap it all up so you're ready to become a MEXT scholar.
Okay, first up, let's talk about the tough stuff, rejection. But I don't want you to see this as a list of ways to fail. No way. Think of these as obvious traps that you, being the smart applicant you are, can see from a mile away and just walk right around.
So what do you think it is? What's the biggest application killer? Here's a hint. It's probably not what you think. It's not about being the smartest person in the room or having a perfect resume. More often than not, it's the simple stuff, the unforced errors.
And here they are. What's wild is that every single one of these is 100% in your control. Submitting late? That's an immediate red flag. Rushing it and not revising? That just signals, laziness. You have got to get fresh eyes on your work. And your topic? It has to be current. It needs to be technical. Think keywords that are relevant today. This is not the place for vague, personal feelings. It's the place for sharp, technical focus.
Look, let's be honest. There are some things you just can't change, right? Like your GPA or where you went to school. And yeah, those things matter. But, and this is a huge but, a truly powerful, polished, and strategic application can absolutely make up for them. So our entire focus is going to be on the things you can control, because that's where you win.
All right, moving on to the absolute core of your application, the research proposal. This is it. This is the document that transforms you from just a name on a page into a future researcher with a real vision. This is your foundation.
So what makes a proposal a winner? It's got this clear, logical flow. You start with a title that's specific and grabs their attention. Then you show them you've done your homework by identifying a real gap in the research. Your objectives have to be crystal clear. Not, I will study X, but I will develop a model that achieves Y. Then you detail how you'll do it. And finally, what the payoff is. Why does this all matter? And this slide right here is a perfect example. On the left, you've got AI in disaster response. I mean, okay, but it's so vague. Now look at the right. Boom. It tells them the what, enhancing warning systems, the where, in Japan, which is crucial, the how, using AI, and the approach, data-driven. Before they've even read a single sentence, they know you're serious and you have a plan. And this is the secret sauce. Your incredible research idea can't just exist in a bubble. Remember, the Japanese government is funding this, so you have to connect the dots for them. How does your work help Japan? Does it tie into their tech goals, their societal challenges? Your proposal has to be more than just good science, it has to be good for Japan. If it helps, just boil it down to these 3 C's. Is it clear? Is your question super focused? Does it have context? Are you solving a real problem? And the big one, what's the contribution? What's the payoff for your field and for Japan? If you can answer yes to all 3, you are in fantastic shape. Okay, you did it. You sent in an amazing proposal. But now comes the next phase, the interview. And you've got to understand, this isn't a test. It's a sales pitch. This is your moment to convince them that you are the one person who can bring that amazing proposal to life. I want you to burn this idea into your brain, the good investment mindset. Japan is about to invest a lot of time and money in you. They're looking for a return on that investment. And that return isn't just a diploma. It's a future collaborator, a cultural bridge builder, a lifelong friend. Every single answer you give has to scream, I am a fantastic investment.
And who are you pitching to? Well, you've got to know your audience. You'll likely have embassy officials and a professor on the panel, and they care about different things. The officials are thinking big picture. Diplomacy, cultural fit, long-term relationships. The professor? They're zeroed in on the academics. Can you actually do this work? Can you handle the pressure? Your answers have to speak to everyone in that room.
So how in the world do you do that? Well, let's get super practical. We're about to open up the playbook for the questions you're almost guaranteed to get. We're going to show you how to turn every single question into a chance to prove you're the one.
All right, let's start with the all-time classic, why Japan? This question is a minefield of cliches, but you are not going to step in it.
Because here's what they're really asking when they drop that question. They're asking, have you done your homework? Is your interest real and academic, or do you just want a free ride? And most importantly, can you prove to us that Japan is the only place in the world for you to do this research? They want to see depth, not just a casual interest in the culture. So your answer has to be loaded with specifics. Name the professor you want to work with, talk about the specific equipment in a lab at a particular university, connect your research to a unique strength Japan has. You want to frame an answer that's so specific it would make absolutely no sense if you were applying to any other country.
Okay, next up is a question that feels like a trap, but it's really a test of your maturity as a researcher. They'll ask something like, so, what are the limitations of your proposed study? It sounds like they're trying to find flaws, but they're not.
Here's how you crush this question. You answer with total confidence. First, quickly remind them of your main goal. Then you proactively bring up a potential limitation yourself. You might say, one challenge will be, but you don't stop there. You immediately follow up with, and here's my plan to overcome that. This shows you're a serious, practical thinker. It doesn't make your research look weaker. It makes it and you look so much stronger.
Okay, let's bring this all home. We've gone from avoiding the common mistakes to building a winning strategy from the ground up. The whole point is to shift how you see yourself, not just as an applicant hoping for a spot, but as a future asset that Japan and your home country will be proud of.
So here it is, your final checklist. First, nail the basics. Be early, be thorough. No excuses. Second, build your proposal around those 3 C's: clarity, context, and contribution. Third, walk into that interview with the I'm a great investment mindset. Fourth, use the playbook to prep your answers. And finally, the golden rule for everything. Show, don't just tell. Prove it with specifics.
Because when you really think about it, a MEXT application is so much more than just a pile of paperwork. It's a promise. It's a promise of amazing research, of genuine cultural exchange, of a partnership that's going to last a lifetime. So the real final question isn't for me, it's for you. What is it that you're going to promise?